Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Elise,
host of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
The history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery.
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Crackin' When Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week, we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course, our fellow podcasters. Check us out on the web at nomcastpod.com. Follow us on the socials at nomcastpod. And most importantly, listen and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. Hit that beat one time.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Boom! I guess I like sports movies.
Yeah, like real creepy like. Did you notice him with his pants down?
Oh, with his pants down?
Yeah.
I just noticed somebody was there.
Yeah. No, his pants are down.
He's taking a dump?
And I'm thinking to myself, I want to do the secret cabal stuff. I don't want to just go and drink.
You still gotta wear a cloak and stuff.
No. I want the real cabal stuff. Like I want the stuff where we're controlling the world.
I want the signet ring. You know what? Screw that.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we always think it's worth a revisit. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm excited about these new microphones.
Yeah, we got new mics.
I'm sitting back, relaxing.
I know. I'm still sitting forward. I don't know why. But yeah, now we can move. I got moving the arm. No one can hear it. You can't hear that. New arms, new mics. That's right.
I mean, they might have heard that because you shook the table, but
dang
who
it.
knows?
My bad. So that was not the mic. That was the table.
Stupid table.
Sorry. So, well, it's a good way to end our season 7, I guess.
That's right.
But you know what's another good way to end our season 7?
With walkie-talkie watches?
I didn't even think of that. We do have walkie-talkie watches, Butler.
Yeah, I was thinking commercial idea.
Oh, nice. Hard-boiled detective Dick Tracy is searching for evidence that proves Alphonse Big Boy Caprice is the city's most dangerous crime boss. He may have found the key to unraveling the crime lord's illegal empire in Breathless Mahoney, an enigmatic barroom singer who has witnessed some of Caprice's crimes firsthand. However, she seems more set on stealing Dick away from his girlfriend, Tess, than helping him solve the case of his career. We are doing Dick Tracy, the 1990 movie Dick Tracy, not the 60s and 40s and 50s and all those older films. Dick Tracy came out on June 15th, 1990. It was a Friday, had a runtime of 105 minutes, rated PG. Production budget of $47 million. Opening weekend, it did $22 million, domestic 103, and worldwide 162. Big time hit. Production company was Touchstone Pictures, Silver Screen Partners 4, and Mulholland Productions. I think Mulholland is Beatty, I'm not sure. And distributed by Buena Vista Pictures, which is obviously Disney. So no, I said this came out on the 15th, Butler. This should have been saved for Forgotten Summer, but we got quite a big summer slate here. So the 15th of June, it came up against Gremlins 2, The New Batch. That's not terrible.
It really puts Gremlins 1 to shame.
Oh, stop. Well, I don't think it was too terrible where we couldn't see a Gremlins 3.
No, not at all. No, yeah.
Then you also had The Adventures of Milo and Otis, which I know I saw, but I can't remember.
Yeah, where 9,000 cats and 3,000 dogs were killed making the movie.
And this was the 90s, or actually 89, right? June 22nd, which was the week after, you had RoboCop 2 and Betsy's Wedding. Have you ever seen Betsy's Wedding?
Nope.
That's actually a very good movie. You should... that might be a movie for us. I'm not sure yet. I think it is. I didn't realize it was a summer movie.
Betsy's Wedding?
Yeah, it's with Alan Alda. He's trying to put it. I want to say Molly Ringwald's his daughter, but that might be wrong. He's trying to put her marriage. They're having like a big wedding, and like it's just like one disaster after the other. It's
never even heard of it.
It's good.
Yeah. I like Alan Alda.
The week before, which was the 8th of June, you had also another 48 Hours, which is the sequel to 48 Hours, starring Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you also had here, because I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of what this summer was like. So on the 15th, you had, like I said, Dick Tracy. But on the 1st, the start off June, you had Total Recall, which I saw opening night at Showcase Milford with my cousin. I don't know.
Wasn't that the first film you worked?
No, the first movie I worked was the double feature. It was a double feature. It came out, I don't know if it was the same day, but it was In the Line of Fire and Interview with a Vampire. It was,
okay.
It was that weekend. And
For some reason, I always think you started Total Recall week.
I started Mother's Day. It was a Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
That's when I started, and it was busy. I saw this movie opening night, and it was like super packed. I've told this story about how the first scene when he kills all those 4 guys, he's like, "You blab, quit," and he kills them all. Everyone in the theater was like cheering and hollering. It was awesome. So you also had on the 29th, the end of the month of June, you had Days of Thunder, which was the big July 4th movie at the time, and Ghost Dad, but that movie's terrible. So we'll get to that. But then you also had a week after that, and first week of July, you had Die Hard 2. So you had a lot of big films. Total Recall, another 48 Hours. I guess Gremlins 2 doesn't count for Butler. RoboCop 2, Days of Thunder.
It's still a
Die
big
Hard
film,
2.
but yeah.
But I mean, these are all probably it's a big summer. All right. So Dick Tracy was directed by Warren Beatty. I don't know if you were aware of this, but he's also in the movie.
What? Who does he play?
He played. Yeah. I'm going to go through, because we haven't talked about Warren Beatty in quite some time.
Have we talked about him?
No, we've never talked about him.
Because most of his movies aren't that forgotten. So
I'm going to go back to him in terms of his accolades. But
right.
So right now it's directed by Warren Beatty, written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. They are a writing duo. They have done Top Gun, The Secret of My Success, Turner and Hooch, Anaconda, Legal Eagles, and The Flintstones, and Viva Rock Vegas. This is based on the comic strip by Chester Gould. It's a cinematography by Vittorio Storaro. I think I got that right.
You did get that right.
He won an Oscar for The Last Emperor, Reds, and Apocalypse Now. Composer Danny Elfman, who I'm a big Danny Elfman guy. He has done Batman, The Frighteners, Men in Black, Justice League, and basically everything Tim Burton does. Also, this was produced by Warren Beatty, amongst other people. Edited by Richard Marx, not the singer, but Richard Marx, the editor. He is nominated for an Oscar for Apocalypse Now, Terms of Endearment, and Broadcast News, as well as Good as It Gets, so big-time editor. This also had an uncredited rewrite by Bo Goldman. I would say Beatty brought him in, and he has won the Oscar for writing for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Melvin and Howard, and he was also nominated for Scent of a Woman. So Warren Beatty plays Dick Tracy. Again, I'll go back to Warren Beatty in a second. Charlie Korsmo as the kid. Apparently, we're doing a Korsmo double feature because last week we did
What About Bob?
That's right. He was in that. He's also in Hook, which is Butler's favorite movie, and Can't Hardly Wait. Glenn Headley as Tess Trueheart. She was in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Mr. Holland's Opus, and Don John. Seymour Cassel as Sam Ketchum. He's in Tin Men, Indecent Proposal, Rushmore, and The Royal Tenenbaums. He was in a lot of Wes Anderson films towards the end. He passed away 2 years ago. Charles Durning plays Chief Brandon. He's in The Hudsucker Proxy, which I love. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which I also love. Tootsie. He won an Oscar for To Be or Not to Be and Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And then Madonna's in this movie. She plays Breathless Mahoney. She's in A League of Her Own, Evita, Body of Evidence, Body of Evidence, and Four Rooms. You ever see Body of Evidence?
No, I know of it, but I've never seen
It's
it.
basically her and Willem Dafoe doing sex things to each other and pouring candle wax on themselves and all that fun stuff.
Ooh.
It's not as exciting. I mean, when I watched it, I was like, oh, she's gonna get nude. And, it's whatever.
And then it's all just Dafoe dong.
Yeah. Not in that movie, but yes. Did you see that movie? I don't know. I don't know why I care. So Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice. He was nominated. He won the Oscar, for Scent of a Woman. He's also in Heat and then Jack and Jill. Now, say what you want about Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, but I'm going to tell you right now, Pacino is funny in that movie. Did you see that movie?
No, it looked awful. But
there's a scene in that movie where he's on stage doing Richard III, and Bruce Jenner's in it. When he was Bruce Jenner, now she is Caitlyn Jenner.
Right.
But he's on there. And so he takes a phone call and everyone's like, boo. And he starts talking on the phone call. And Jenner's like, oh, do you want me to say this? No one's here to see you. No one's here to see. They're here to see me. They're here to see me. And then he starts yelling at the phone and people think it's part of the act. And she's like, yeah. I don't know. He's funny. Pacino's very funny in the movie.
I think Pacino picks some weird movies, but he's always good in anything he's in. He gives his all to any role.
Well, he was nominated for an Oscar for this movie, which is unbelievable, but he's the best thing about this movie.
He's awesome in this movie.
William Forsythe as Flat Top. He's in The Rock, Virtuosity, and Raising Arizona. Edo Ross as Itchy. He's from the Cotton Club, Lethal Weapon, and Full Metal Jacket. You had Manny Patinkin in here.
He is in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I've seen this guy in something.
You didn't know who he was?
I tried not to look him up because I figured you were going to tell me. I looked up everybody else but him.
Okay. Manny Patinkin has 88 Keys from The Princess Bride. He's in the TV show Homeland and the movie Alien Nation. Paul Sorvino as Lips Manless. He's from Goodfellas, The Rocketeer, Nixon, Cruising. I'm sure everyone knows this. James Tolkien as Numbers from Masters of the Universe. What's the name of his character? Strickland? In Back to the Future?
Oh, and Back to the Future. Yeah, Strickland. Yeah.
And he's also in the TV show Nero Wolf, which I always try to let everyone know I like that movie. Dustin Hoffman in a small role as Mumbles. He's won the Oscar for Rain Man, Kramer vs. Kramer. He's also nominated for Wag the Dog, Tootsie, Lenny, Midnight Cowboy, and The Graduate.
Big boy did it. Big boy.
James Caan as Spaldoni, who has no makeup on whatsoever. So I'm wondering if they asked him to put makeup on. He's like, screw you.
He's got that pencil mustache.
He's obviously we know Caan we just did a movie a few weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, Thief.
Mm-hmm.
Which we both love. He's also obviously in The Godfather. And then a favorite of mine, Honeymoon in Vegas. Dick Van Dyke as D.A. Fletcher from Mary Poppins, both of them. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the Dick Van Dyke Show. And he's also from Diagnosis Murder for all those older people out there, or older fans, if you like Diagnosis Murder. And then I didn't realize that these two were in this movie. But you had Kathy Bates was in this film, and Catherine O'Hara is in this film. And I did not know that. And the Kathy Bates one, I had to go back. I was like, what? I had to look back and go, oh my God, that is her. So
yeah, I thought the same thing. I did the same thing when I was watching the credits. I was like, no way.
Yeah. So now I promised to talk about Warren Beatty. So here we go.
Whoa, hold on. Also, Cole Meany is in this. And I got to point out my
background.
He's a cop.
Barely see
Chief
him.
O'Brien from Star Trek Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
You barely see him. I saw him quickly and I'm just like, oh,
listen,
and then you never see him again.
It's been like 12 episodes since I pointed a Star Trek reference out. True. So I had to. I had to.
All right. So Warren Beatty, just to give you an idea, he does a lot of stuff. He's been nominated for 14 Academy Awards. So for writing, he was nominated for Bulworth, Reds, and Shampoo. You ever see Shampoo? Do you know what it's about?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's a very good movie. When I remember watching Shampoo, I remember seeing the poster for him, like, oh, Shampoo. And you think he's a hairdresser. And you think that, what the heck is this movie about? But it's actually it's a political movie. And it's actually really good. It's very good. He also was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay for Heaven Can Wait. He won the Oscar for directing for Reds, and he was nominated for Heaven Can Wait. He was nominated for acting for Bugsy, Reds, Heaven Can Wait, and Bonnie and Clyde. And he was also those were also Best Picture nominations, those same 4 movies, and he was nominated for that. So there's 14 Academy Awards. He's technically won 2. One is the one for Reds for directing, but he also had a Thalberg Award, which is like an overall achievement award.
Right.
So Warren Beatty doesn't direct a lot. Like he has 7 or 8 movies that he's done. I probably said them all here, but when he does something, it's like they're well received.
Except the actors don't like work.
No, absolutely. No, I know he's a bit tough. So real quickly, this movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. It has 3 wins. It won for Best Makeup, and won for Best Art Direction and Set Direction, and one for Best Music, the original song. So, which makes sense because that's probably the things that stand out the most in this movie. It was not, the other nominations were supporting actor for Pacino, as we said, who Pacino has supporting actor nods out the butt for Irishman, Glengarry Glen Ross, and Justice for All, Dog Day Afternoon, both Godfathers, Serpico. The man's on fire. And then it was also nominated for Best Cinematography, Best Sound, and Best Costume Design. So this movie was not ignored critically, but it perhaps was ignored, I guess, what's the word I want to look for? Popular through the audience?
Historically, maybe?
Yeah.
Like it didn't, it was hot and then the flame just puffed out real quick.
Right. So
like, it's not like it didn't make a ton of money.
it did.
It just made its ton of money and then disappeared.
A couple of things that stand out for me is the score. I always remember the Danny Elfman score because I used to have I still have them, the 2 CDs that Danny Elfman used to put out. There used to be 2 CDs where it would just be a compilation of Elfman's work, like Dark Man, like old stuff. And then this was on one of them. So I always remember the song because it's always like, it's like track 3 or 2 or something like that. And so I always remember the score, and I love Danny Elfman's score work. I don't know why. I just always dig what he does. Obviously, I thought that the look of this film was almost a precursor to Sin City.
I thought that exact same thing while I was watching it this time.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, this movie. So
like I didn't realize like that was so prevalent, that backdrop. I know they're paintings and you know, I know that you only use, I think you use 6 colors, 6 of the colors from
8 colors.
8 colors. Well, black, I'm not counting black.
Okay, then 6 colors. Yes. The only the colors that appeared in the original strips.
red, blue, yellow, green, orange, and purple. And they're at the same level of saturation.
They never shade them. They never fade them.
To the point where like one time they're in a car and there's green through the window. And I'm like, is that the green screen?
Oh, when he leaves his apartment and he's in the hallway. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. So that was like that idea. Like I can appreciate that. Like you tried something, you went for it, you know. I mean, there's a couple of things. There's watching this movie, I did have some issues, but just some things popped up that I don't think I've ever noticed before. And we can get into it a little bit.
Okay.
I'm curious because obviously I was 15 when this came out.
Well, how many times have you seen Dick Tracy also?
I want to say, I don't remember if I saw it in the theater. I don't think I did, but I've seen it more than once.
Okay.
Okay. But I have not seen it in quite some time.
Okay.
I mean, it's safe to say I have not seen it this century. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So it's been a while. There's some things that really stood out to me that I questioned. I was like, what is this? Like, for instance, the beginning. You first see Dick Tracy and it's night. And then the next time you see him, and this is the same scene. It's the day. Then it's the night. Then he goes to the opera. It's at night. The guys are inside they're playing cards. It's the day. It's like, I don't know what was happening in the movie. It was like going back and forth. Cause then I initially thought, well, maybe it's early evening. No, wait, they're at night. No, wait, they're in the day. No, what's happening? So some stuff there was it was almost like it was just pieced together, thrown together.
Like a montage. Yeah.
Right. I did read that there is a longer cut.
I read that as well. Yeah.
2 hours and 15 minutes. And they made him cut he said 45 minutes, but that's not it.
The movie's an hour and 45 minutes.
So cut a half hour out. They made him cut down.
What's interesting is I don't know if you read the same note when it was the extended edition, it still exists somewhere.
I tried to see if I could find it somewhere.
Well, I think by it still exists means they didn't destroy the film.
Yeah. So let's go. Put it out.
Exactly.
I'd like to see, because that's my other note is it doesn't make any sense. The story makes zero sense in terms of motivations, in terms of what people are trying to do, what Dick Tracy.
I don't think it makes no sense. I think it's very straightforward in its simplicity, and that kind of the motivations maybe are very skin deep.
Okay.
I think that also is because it's a comic book, like it's a comic strip.
Right.
So I would wonder what they cut out of that half hour. It's like, I get the story. I get what Big Boy's trying to do. I get what Breathless is. Breathless motivation is kind of.
You find out that they call her No Face in here, but she's actually the blank from the strip.
From the blank. Yeah.
Right.
So like, you don't get a lot of motivation there. And maybe that half hour has more of that.
I don't know. Because her motivation is in the beginning. I don't know. So in the beginning of the movie, the first time you see No Face, he's giving money to 88 Keys to tell Big Boy to do something.
To tell Big Boy that for $10,000,
she can get rid of Dick Tracy.
The blank will get rid of Dick Tracy.
Which makes no sense. Why? Because at that point, Dick Tracy hasn't spurned her. Dick Tracy, she likes Dick Tracy and she's trying to seduce him. So why is all of a sudden she's going to turn around and
I think the whole plan the whole time is to get Dick Tracy on her side, not to kill him, but to sabotage him as a cop and ruin his relationships, and then use that to kill Big Boy and take over Big Boy.
That's a lot of inference. I didn't get that because I just get like, I want you. You don't want me. Okay, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to get rid of Tess, but I want him, but I don't want him. I tried Dick and then I die. It's like, I've always felt that Madonna does not fit in this movie in terms of the feel of it and the style of it. She looks great. She sounds great. She's a good part of the movie. Her in the movie is fine. I just didn't think she fit with the movie.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted a femme fatale because it's such a classic stereotype of noirs and Dick Tracy.
Well, he's also dating her during this time.
Right.
So,
along with a million other actors. That was one of his first notes on IMDb is just, here's a list of all the actresses he went out with. And it's like 100 actresses. I'm like, damn, good for you, dude. But I feel like they just wanted a femme fatale in the role to put her in there.
Okay.
But that his relationship with Tess is so much stronger than the will they, won't they with Madonna that it's just like, he's not. He's with Tess.
But it doesn't see that will they, won't they with Madonna, with Breathless, is hurts his how we perceive him with Tess. Like, he can't even tell Tess he loves her. But you know what I mean?
That's his thing. Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing with him and the women with Tess and Breathless.
No, you didn't like the Tess stuff at all?
No, it was really tough to figure out what he was trying to do in order to make me relate to the character. Let's put it that way. Like there was stuff that he was doing that I just didn't understand. And in terms of like, I want to root for Dick Tracy, and I do root for Dick Tracy, although we'll get into this. He breaks a lot of laws, but
He does. I was surprised. Yeah.
so I do want to root for him, but it's very difficult. Like, I mean, I can understand it through the process of the movie. He's having a tough time really revealing his true feelings to Tess, but he never does it. Then he just tosses her the ring, and it's like,
I think because they kind of come to it's like it's unspoken understanding.
It's a cool moment, but I don't know if it necessarily is a cool moment for the character in and of itself.
Oh, I see. I disagree. I really like that part. I like that it's bookended with the same conversation with the exact same dialogue. I thought that was really, really nice, and I thought it was like a little sweet moment between both characters because they're both so similar in their understanding of each other and what they want.
But then why does she leave him?
Because she sees him kissing Breathless.
Oh, that's true.
And then she kind of realizes that the job's more important. He's willing to kiss another girl and ruin their relationship.
Come on. You're justifying him cheating?
No.
But you're justifying
I'm trying to figure out why you asked me why she left.
She left because she saw him
do that and realized that all right, he's married to the job and she's part of the job.
But you're saying that he kissed Breathless because that's part of the job.
No, that's what she thinks.
That's ridiculous to think that. That's not okay.
It's a comic book movie, dude.
Dude, it's a movie. I still have to relate to the charters. You're telling me that she's like, oh, it's
clearly the job because
sleep with women. So I guess that's okay. That's the gig.
I said, well,
I know what you're saying, but I'm just arguing that other side.
Well, so she kissed him, but he should have broken the kiss. But for sure,
come on. Well, this is something else I noticed in this movie. Could you talk about that scene where they bookend? So he's having the conversation while they're eating soup.
Chili.
Whatever.
He's really big into chili.
There's a couple things. There's a couple scenes of this when he's eating chili. He chews with his mouth open. Like he absolutely chews with his mouth open.
I didn't really notice that.
I'm watching it going, gross. Close your mouth. Come on. Breaks the rule, breaks the law. Let's talk about Dick Tracy breaking the laws here. Let's talk about how he's clearly torturing suspects, which he can't. I could put the lights on you. I mean, she's got a great line in the movie. There's a great line where he's like, I can sweat you under the lights. It's legal. And she's like, I sweat better in the dark. That's a great line. But he's really he really goes over the line a bunch of different times.
Oh, yeah. Where the fingerprints on the walnuts. We're getting big boy anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to stick. Just all these things. He's just like the wiretapping with no warrant and stuff like that.
Yep.
He's really big on. He's so high on himself and knowing that he's going to catch him and win in the end that he's willing to do all this stuff beforehand because he knows he'll get the evidence he needs later.
He gets arrested, but his boys are just like, where are we going? It's a long drive to the prison. It's like, we're okay with this. And speaking of that, like the back to business montage when they arrest Tracy and she's singing back in business.
Oh, and they're making all the money.
Right. And they're showing all the montage. They kill a cop in that montage. They absolutely shoot a cop dead. And it was just like,
Oh, do they?
Yes.
I know they beat up a bunch of store owners.
But there's a shot where he shoots a cop and he falls down and I think he knocks over the apples or something like that.
Okay.
But they shoot him. It's like, he's dead. What are we okay with this?
You're not supposed to be okay with Big Boy making the money. He's just making the money.
Cops don't really do anything unless Tracy tells them. And he's belligerent to these people. He's belligerent to his colleagues.
They do. They just ask. They're like little puppies to him, man. What are we doing, Tracy? What are we doing? What are we doing? Even his chief is like, what are we doing, Tracy? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah. And like when even he yells at Mike, oh, we putting this chili, Mike Rubber. It's like, Jesus. And Mike's like, I don't know why I even bothered, Tracy. It's like, kick him out.
That's like old school kind of dialogue though, which I really like.
I got you. That's the other thing too. I have here in my note is Dick Tracy denying civil liberties. You want your phone call? And then he rips the phone wire. Oh, yeah. I'm like, he gets his phone call, Dick.
Did you notice that the movie has a ton of split diopters?
You know what? I did. I think I did, but I just didn't write them down. But go ahead, hit me.
Split diopter when he looks at his watch in the beginning. Split diopter. I
like that I've trained you to look for the split diopters, but go ahead. All right.
Split diopter when he's holding the walnuts and looking at them and they tell him that there's no fingerprints on the walnut.
Gotcha.
Split diopter when the kid's looking at the wallet
Yep. Okay. Yep. Why don't you let everybody know what a split diopter is?
I'll tell him when I'm done listing them.
Ooh.
Split diopter when the orphanage lady comes to take the kid and he's looking at the door.
Yep.
Split diopter with mumbles in the recording when he's listening to the recording going.
Yep.
And that's what I got. I got 4 split diopters listed, but I think there were 5.
What are they? What is it? What is
So
that?
split diopter is when you have 2 things in focus, one in the background and one in the foreground, and you have to split the image and put them together,
They're
which
shot at
usually
different
creates
times,
a kind of a ripple effect in the center of the screen.
Yeah, you're merging 2 copies of the film. You're merging 2 different shots, and that's why you have that split diopter.
Split diopter when the lilies are putting out the poison and Dick Tracy goes to sleep. That was the other one.
Nice.
I thought it was an interesting because most directors use it maybe once.
Yeah.
And it's like a blink and you miss it kind of thing. But Warren Beatty seems to really like the split diopter, or at least in this movie. I don't know if I haven't watched enough, I think, movies from the 30s and 40s to know if that was something so common that he was like, we really got to put that in there.
Like have the two shots in frame. I don't
Two
know.
shots in frame.
That's interesting to look up the history of the split diopter technique.
He uses a bunch of fades and stuff too that are used in like 1930s movies.
Yeah.
So I think that's
There's
cool.
definitely a lot of style in this movie. He didn't want to direct this movie. He had a bunch of people that were going to direct this movie.
Yeah.
Scorsese was going to do it, but then backed out. John Landis was going to direct this movie, but he couldn't because
he killed 3 people.
well, the movie before, which was the Twilight Zone, the movie, he had obviously the unfortunate incident where Vic Morrow died with the 2 kids. There was an accident and they were killed on set. And he was dealing with the aftermath of that. And I don't think at the time he was charged with manslaughter, but he inevitably was charged with manslaughter after that. But he was going to direct this movie and Clint Eastwood was going to be the main guy. And then so I don't know if Beatty was even going to be part of it in terms of when Landis was directing it, but then it came to Beatty and he was like, I'll do it, but I'm going to play Dick Tracy. And
they couldn't find one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted a bunch of people to play Dick Tracy.
they had
Harrison Ford, just so many people.
Well, you had
I thought Robert De Niro. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if that I would have liked that. This movie was originally this was from the 80s. Like there was Tom Mankiewicz was going to write this script and he had pitched the idea to Chester Gould, who's like we said was the creator, and he was all on board, but I guess the studio didn't want to do it and it kind of fell apart.
Well, I guess he liked the idea of who the villain would be, but he kept rejecting the script overall because he was so picky.
Yeah.
And so when he finally passed and his family had the rights to it, the estate was a little more malleable in terms of how to work and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, most of these characters, with the exception of Big Boy, are pretty much straight out of the comic strip.
Well, the look of
them, right? Yeah.
Big Boy's look is he's bald in the comic.
Yeah. Al Pacino chose his own design for it and worked with his own makeup artist to make his prosthetics.
Yeah. I guess that makeup artist went on to become his makeup artist for the rest of his life.
His personal, his personal one.
He still does it probably. So I thought that was interesting too. The villains in all these villains in the movie are from the comic strip except 3. And that's Numbers, DeSanto, and Louis the Louse were all created for the movie. So they were not in the comic strip, which is pretty impressive. And I think Beatty purposely, well, I don't think I read it. Beatty purposely put all the villains in the movie because he wanted to not save them for a quote unquote a sequel. He didn't think that there was going to be a sequel. So he wanted to use them all now.
Right.
So, so that's why. And this is the highest grossing film of Warren Beatty's career.
It's the most accessible of his career for the most part.
Well, I mean, like I said, you haven't watched a lot of his movies, have you?
I've watched a decent amount.
Yeah.
Well, they're mostly like, this is the only one like you can watch as like a kid or a teenager.
You watched Bulworth, right?
I love Bulworth.
Well, that's more recent, but like
But that's political. That's still kind of an adult
all his
film.
movies are like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is more accessible. This is just a blockbuster popcorn.
I got you. But you should. He's got his own style, and I know that he's difficult to work with in terms of
he wanted
directing.
Gene Hackman to be in this movie again, and Gene Hackman said, "Not after Reds." He goes, "I love you, but I can't do it again."
Yeah,
because he would do, and when he was directing Reds, he would do 100 takes.
Well, he's like like Kubrick or like Fincher.
Like something like hundreds of miles worth of film came back for that film. I was reading, and Jack Nicholson got to the point where he was so frustrated filming Reds. He said, "Just tell me what you want and I'll fucking do it." And the entire crew, I guess, started applauding when he said that because they're just so sick of his directing style.
Yeah.
But we talk about that a lot. Like, that's a little excessive when he gets 100 takes.
It's not knowing what you want, or it's not being confident in knowing what you want. Well, I mean, he's Warren Beatty. I'm not going to really go against what Warren Beatty wants to do because he's a proven talent.
Well, the films are awesome. Yeah, right.
Kubrick's a proven talent. Like, I know that Fincher has a certain philosophy where he gets to a point where the actor's not acting. He wants real life. I get that. I understand that. But like, you're still making movies and telling stories. There's nothing. I mean, you're going to tell me that like Al Pacino is Big Boy Caprice, that needs to be something that's realistic. And it's Al Pacino screaming and yelling. And he got,
Well, this is Al Pacino. This is like beside.
As a screamist.
Yeah, this is him. If you thought when you watched Devil's Advocate that's him at his most Pacino. Oh no. You have not seen him at his most Pacino until you see Big Boy, where every line is a Pacino line.
I can't stop laughing when they're doing the number when he gets the club from Lips and he's like dancing with them. And like, no, terrible, wrong, do it again.
You don't know this, and you go down. Look, I broke his finger. You think I broke his finger? No, look, he's playing better than ever. I love that he quotes like all these famous political, like American, like presidents.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson.
I have an idea. Hold, wait. Idea's coming. The idea's coming. And it's gone.
At the end of the movie, he's running to the drawbridge and he's like, we're going to go hide out in the city.
We're going to jump.
They're never going to find us. We're going to hide out in the city. And I'm thinking, aren't you in the city? Where are you?
They're like in the outskirts, I guess. Yeah, which you don't really get the idea that. They never established that.
Yeah. Warren Beatty still talks about doing a sequel. Still, like, because this movie has been locked in real brief, if I can get to it real briefly. Art Linson and Floyd Mutrux or whatever. They were co-producers and they were responsible. They purchased the rights to the movie first. Mm-hmm. And then, because obviously what ends up happening is that they couldn't get the movie made. And then it basically, and Warren Beatty took it over. And after the movie came out, they launched a lawsuit against Warren Beatty. And they were saying that they were owed profit participation from the film. That lawsuit prevented Beatty from producing another movie for 2 years, but that was eventually settled out of court. And then there was issues where Warren Beatty was suing Tribune Media or somebody like that because they were withholding money, or there was some kind of issue. This still is going on as of 2017. It is still going. I don't know if they've settled it, but this was going on throughout the last 20 years of just lawsuits and Beatty going after them. And he was quoted in 2017 as saying that he still is interested in doing a sequel, but it's like, you're not in it. You can't be in it.
He's 81 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you have to recast.
Did you watch the Leonard Maltin interview he did?
No.
As Dick Tracy?
Oh my God, no. I heard that he did that to keep the rights of Dick Tracy, though.
Oh, okay.
So I heard that I don't know if it's that or a short. He did something to retain the rights of Dick Tracy, which is why he probably did that.
It's a short where he's playing Dick Tracy talking to Leonard Maltin about the history of his character.
That's why then, because he did that for that reason. But right. I did not see that.
I skimmed through it when I was watching
I've seen his 2 performances on the Oscars.
But I wouldn't mind seeing, again, not a sequel, but like a sequel. I mean, obviously, like you said, he's not playing the character.
I think they should just do it again.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think what I really like this when we talked about it being Sin City is I think I prefer the style here than Sin City because Sin City really, and this is just the nature of the beast at this point, overutilized CG in a lot of ways for its sets and some of its coloring and all that. I really respect the use of color in this film, coloring all the props and stuff like that, even though at some point it was a little weird and janky, but I feel like you could do it better today.
So in Sin City, you want more tangible stuff on screen rather than and less of the animated.
It's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy to tell that each shot is in front of like a 10-foot green screen in Sin City.
Right.
And in Dick Tracy, it's like they colored this whole massive studio set.
Yeah.
Blocks and blocks of set and all the indoor and outdoor locations and all the props and food. It's really impressive what they managed to do. And I'm far more impressed with that than the CG utilization in Sin City. Although Sin City also used a bunch of makeup effects. This movie takes place, Sin City's what, 2003, 2004 probably?
Early 2000s, yeah.
So like 15 years before that, Dick Tracy is... Yeah. That makeup effects in Dick Tracy are still impressive.
Oh, they're good for 90s. I think they would need to be like Prune Face needs to be...
Prune Face is a little plain and forehead or brows.
Flat top or brows?
Brows. Okay. I thought Flat Top was pretty good. I like Flat Top.
The guy, so Little Face in the beginning.
Little Face is too much.
That's a kid. So they had to make his face, obviously he has his small face but a big head.
Right.
They had to actually put a kid's face in there, and the background, and then they dubbed over the voice, and then the background is an adult actor when you don't see his face. But yeah, they had to do that for him. It reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China when he blows up at the end.
Yeah.
Does that, which is funny for that movie because it's shocky.
Right.
I think while the effects are good, I think they kind of pull me out a little bit. And I think if you're going to do it now, they need to be a little
more subtle.
Yeah, they need to be less so overtly, I have a rubber mask on my face kind of thing. I keep thinking of Prune Face. That's what I keep thinking of because Prune Face actually it's an homage to Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, they wanted actually Ronald Reagan to play.
They wanted
role.
Reagan to play, which I don't know how you're doing that, but they wanted Reagan to play it, and he obviously said no. But they make his look like they gave him like his face, like certain like freckles and stuff like that, and certain wrinkles look like Reagan. So if you watch that and you see Prune Face, like, oh, he looks like Ronald Reagan, that's on purpose.
Right.
But I think I would like it toned back just a little bit, maybe like 60% of what they have. That's all. But I think it would work. Did you know that Sean Young was in this movie?
I thought she
was playing Tess Trueheart.
Right. And she got cut after
She got
a
fired.
couple weeks. Yeah, fired. Yeah.
So she got fired after a few days by Beatty. And then she accused Beatty of firing her because she wouldn't sleep with him. And then Cosmo's mom, I guess, she's always on set, said that the rumor was that she was just too demanding and she, and they decided they didn't want to put up with it anymore. And Beatty issued a statement saying, I made a mistake casting her in the part and I felt really badly about it. But, so
it's tough because she's got a history of being difficult.
But
Beatty has a history of betting 1,000 actresses, so it's tough.
Yeah, I can understand that. Oh, Warren Beatty,
you hound dog. You.
We haven't talked about Dick Van Dyke. I said he was in it, but he plays the corrupt DA.
Mm-hmm.
He broke his shoulder when he got shot. So when the blank shoots him and he falls back, it's only take the head because he broke his shoulder when he did that. It's like, ouch.
Yeah. I like the when he's shooting, they're in the shootout with Dick Tracy when he's shooting the police cars as they drive by.
Oh,
there's the close up with the explosion of the police car.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't know the car wasn't supposed to explode that close to him, and he didn't even notice because the gun was so loud that he didn't even notice the explosion behind him. And they were like, "Warren, are you all right?" He's like, "What?" So that's the one take they used too because
that's a great shot.
Yeah. But he didn't even know that he shouldn't have been that close.
He definitely looks the part. They were going to give him like a prosthetic nose, which was stupid.
And they decided it didn't look as good.
No,
yeah.
But he's definitely like the opening scene when he's in the hallway with the shadow. He's in his door hallway and you see him with the outfit. He's perfect. He's perfectly cast.
Oh, for sure.
And he looks great as Dick Tracy. There's not, maybe my notes are picky or nitpicky, but I don't know. I'm also 30 years removed from seeing it. Holy cow, this movie's 30 years old, Butler.
I know.
You feel old, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I love the way the film is little 1930s and 40s and comic book things they do in terms of cinematography as well. I love the shadows of Dick Tracy when he's sneaking in to the warehouse when his was it the police chief? No, it's the guy with the
idiot who spilled the coffee when
the guy, listening guy. He's getting cemented, and you have Dick Tracy moving from box to box, hiding in the warehouse. You see his shadow is far away from him as he's moving, which is clearly another actor probably against another light, mimicking his moves. But I thought that looked really cool.
They do that
really
again
well
when
done.
He fights somebody, he punches somebody, and then he shows up. They do that. Oh, they do that at the end.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's really cool. Did you notice that the face was like the blank sounds a lot like Princess Leia as the bounty hunter?
Yeah.
I was waiting for her to say that Warren Beatty was recovering from cryo sleep sickness. You are recovering from hibernation sickness. What? At first, because I haven't seen this movie in forever, I thought that might have been The Shadow. I was like, oh, are they doing like a crossover thing?
Very similar to The Shadow. The Shadow's 94, so it's same pulpy kind of like Dick Tracy's a comic strip, but it's pulpy comic.
Right,
it's same style. In fact, I'd be okay with if that's the kind of tone you use for Dick Tracy. If you do another one, The Shadow kind of dark underbelly tone, more, you know what I mean?
A little more noir.
Less schlocky, less comic
animated,
strippy and more pulpy. I think that would work really well for Dick Tracy, a Shadow-like.
Well, I know they wanted to do the team up film with Dick Tracy, The Shadow, Phantom, and one other character from the pulp radio shows.
Little world building.
That's what they want to do. Because I believe Dick Tracy is rights free. But obviously Warren Beatty can't do his version because his version is literally a sequel to the film.
Yeah.
So that would be tough.
Yeah.
But I believe all of those classic characters are rights free. But it might be a situation like Sherlock Holmes where, those last two ones are not, but everything else is.
Give me a break.
So you might be able to only use, half the of his rogues gallery or something like that.
Big Boy slaps a lot of dames in this movie. He slaps Breathless like 4 times.
Really like less hard, but more just being annoying, more just like demeaning.
More like that wasn't the intent. And then, I thought I'd hit you in that scene. I thought that'd be okay.
Is it right if I hit you? Yeah, all right. And he like maybe felt bad about it. So he just little slaps.
When she has that line, which is another good line, but it's unfortunate when she's like, you don't know whether you want to hit me or kiss me. I get that a lot. I mean, it's a nice line, but then I'm thinking, geez.
Yeah, she's clearly been abused a bunch. Like a lot of her lines are like,
Yeah.
The one line that kind of grossed me out is when she's at the other side of the door and he's waiting for Tess to bring back ice cream. And he goes, what kind of ice cream you get? And then at the other side of the door, he goes, peach. But you might want to hurry up. It's starting to run a little. And I was like, oh, no, come on. No. I love the montage, though, when he's starting to shut down all the Big Boy stuff when the microphone's working at first. Yeah. And you see like him popping out from behind a counter going like, we're behind the 2 pieces of meat. It's just so stupid and so...
When he punches 10 dudes?
Oh, yeah. It's so old school, like 1940s, that it's just like so cheesy, but it's pretty good.
Well, that's like the Back in Business montage. It's the same thing.
Right. I wouldn't mind him. Like, obviously, he fights Big Boy, but Big Boy wouldn't... You don't think Big Boy should put up as much of a fight as he does against Dick Tracy?
Well, Big Boy has this weird idea that Tracy's going to join him. I want you to join me. Like,
yeah, he never wants to kill him.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Come on. I'll deal with Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy is mine to deal with.
Yeah, he's still like, are they brothers or something that we don't know about?
That'd be interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Do you like the kid and that storyline?
I don't mind him. I don't hate it. It's fine. I mean, he's going to end up with him at the end or end up with Tess. No, I don't mind the kid stuff. The kid's fine. Why, you don't like it?
No, I really like it.
Yeah.
I don't, because again, the only thing I think I told you in the last episode, the only thing I remembered was the way the villains looked.
Right.
So when I'm watching it this time, I forgot all about, I didn't remember anything about the kid stuff. And I really enjoyed that it was this family dynamic and them trying to build a family and the kid kind of becoming his son. Because that's the kind of thing you'd maybe make in the 5th movie. Let's give him the kid. And now it's like, let's show this more emotional side to Dick Tracy. And I enjoy that they put that in there because a lot of these characters like Batman, like the Shadow, you never give them feelings other than the job. And I like that Dick Tracy had this family unit he was trying to stick together. And I like his emotional moment with the kid when he hands him the certificate at the end with his name on it, Dick Tracy Jr.
In the prison, in the jail.
Yeah. And it's almost like Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy is holding back crying. And that's a very delicate personal moment in a film where these kind of heroes never show that kind of side to them. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really good moment.
Well, Breathless has a couple scenes like that too, where she's kind of the emotion, like when they're at the docks. But speaking of that, so at the docks, when he's again trying to tell her, I want you to, she's like, you want me? He's like, I do want you to testify.
Yeah.
When they go to the one of him, she completely blocks his face. Like here, like you can't even see his mouth. You can't even see his nose. And I'm sitting there going, you didn't have another shot. You couldn't move to another shot. What is this? I can't. What is move?
I did 100 takes and they were all her in the head.
It was so frustrating. I'm like, I can't believe this is the shot we've accepted here. I can't believe that this is the shot you landed on. I want me covered. It was so, what are we doing here?
I bet he didn't do 100 takes for Dick Tracy. I bet it was too expensive and too studio.
I'm done. Perfect. Oh, you mean like a total?
I think they probably were like, you can do 30 shots.
Well, they had to do, I have that note. He had to stay. They agreed to do it, but he had to stay under budget. He still went over a little bit, but he had to. If he went over, he was going to have to pay for it.
So that's why
was that in there.
Okay.
It was, yeah. So I guess they already knew his penchant for going too long.
Right. Well, one of the things I really like about this is the animated backdrops.
Well, they're painted.
They're painted. Yeah. I think they're really cool. I love the shot when he's beating up. He's got a name. The homeless guy, the guy that
the tramp or something.
The tramp, yeah,
because they
had to pull his action figure, because it was made homeless people look bad. And they took away Breathless action figure as well because
Well, they took away the no face.
because it took away her face and it was Breathless.
Right. It had the mask on. You take it off, it was Breathless. Like so, but like I said, I take it off the shelves. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I guess that Warren Beatty didn't want any kind of panning of the set because he didn't want people to realize it was a drawn set.
You can't move. Yeah, you couldn't move the camera that much.
Who's not knowing that that's a drawn set though? Like that's what I hated. I hate when I read that note. I was like, really? Do you think people are looking at the cityscape and going, "Oh, that's real. Look at that. Look at that. What city's that? I want to go there." It's like, no, dude, that's animated. Everybody knows that's animated. Pan the camera. Who cares? I was like, what? Come on.
When he beats up his father's kid, your old man, shut up. Jeez, all right.
When are we eating? When are we eating?
Yeah.
When are we eating?
Yeah.
The other thing, I really like the steam, when the steam engine starts going off and everything's shaking when they're at the bottom.
When he's in Tess's apartment.
Yeah, and they're in the boiler room. Boiler, that's what it is.
Right.
And the boiler starts shaking. I thought that scene was really well done. And I thought
the camera's shaking. Yeah.
The camera's shaking. No, the machine's shaking too because it's coming off the hinges.
Right. Yep.
I thought that was a really cool look to it. I thought the scene was, I like the juxtaposition between the action happening in this very light or bright basement where you usually get like dim and dark kind of a scene, and it's very bright. And I thought the intensity was there because of the steam engine, the way the sound was all going. I thought that was a really good scene.
No, it's yeah. I'm still sitting here trying to figure out if I do like this movie, but I'm trying to sit here and figure out if I like it as much as I did when I first saw it, or it's taken a hit for me because I've just been so far away from it. I don't know.
Field, where's your pride? Where's your destiny?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if it's something that, like, I liked Pacino in it quite a bit, even though he's just hamming it up like nobody's business.
How much you weigh? 190, 196, something like that. How much? 210. I like Mandy Patinkin's laugh.
And I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe my problem is just story. A lot of stuff didn't make sense to me. The acting's great.
They say I kidnapped you. I didn't kidnap you. I'm kidnapping you now.
It's a federal offense. Oh, it's a federal offense. I could get you on a bunch of other stuff. It doesn't matter if it's a federal offense. All right, okay.
I really like this movie.
I
mean, I thought maybe I'd think it was schlocky and kind of lame, but as I'm watching, I go, I think I want to buy this on Blu-ray.
Is it on Blu-ray?
It's gotta be. Maybe, I don't know.
This says over ownership rights in the 1930s comic strip Dick Tracy, ruling in Beatty's favor. Beatty bought the film and television rights to the square-jawed yellow fedora wearing private detective from the Tribune Company in 1985. Okay, so he owns it. He owns the TV and movie rights for Dick Tracy. So I guess I
guess it's wherever he wants to put it then.
I guess. Came out 8 years ago. It's on Blu-ray.
It's about time for a Steelbook re-release, I think.
It's a 2-disc set, Butler.
Ooh.
You could buy it on Amazon for $32. Looks good, though.
Maybe.
Blu-ray and digital copy, Butler.
Ooh, I never use my digital copy.
Oh, wait a minute. That's from the Amazon Marketplace. I don't know where you can get it. I'm on Blu-ray.com. But anyways, yeah. So would you recommend this to... Because this is 30 years old. So you think this movie would play for somebody who is like me when I saw it at 15? Do you really think it would really make have enough? Would it? Because instantly it's going to get compared to Sin City. And what's the other one they did that's not the sequel to Sin City? Yeah, the sequel to Sin City.
They did Sin City. They did.
All Rodriguez's movies now are kind of like this now. Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Their new one now, We Are Heroes. They're all they're all massively digital.
Massively. And in terms of that, yeah. But also there was that one that didn't really do well.
It wasn't Sin City. It was
Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Yeah. But anyways, those are more stylistically closer to Dick Tracy. Do you think that if I told some 18-year-old, hey, you should watch Dick Tracy, that they're going to just crap on it because it's not what Sin City was?
It's very different. It's very cheesy. It's very just comic strippy. And Sin City might have that same style, but Sin City is also very adult, very graphic.
Right.
I think Dick Tracy, if you showed somebody who was interested in film Dick Tracy, I think they'd really appreciate a lot of it because of the colors, the use of the sets, the practical stuff, the makeup effects, the acting. Al Pacino. It's all very, very well done, all very slick, all very stylish, all in camera. Like this is what you can do. in camera without relying on CGI. An 18-year-old, I don't think would like it. A kid would like it, and someone in their 20s would like it. But I think once you're a teenager, I think you're going to think it's lame.
Yeah.
I think you got to get out of that "this is lame" mindset first. And when you start to appreciate stuff again, when you start to stop just being like, it doesn't have enough like boobs or blood or swearing and stuff like that. You know, that's kind of what teenagers are going to look for in a movie like that, because of Sin City and because of some of these other more like, if it's pulpy, it's going to be more adult and graphic now. I think that's kind of what they're expecting.
Okay.
I'm watching this now and I'm watching this going, I love this. This movie's awesome. And my parents always had the VHS and I never watched it as a kid other than the one time. And I kind of regret that now.
I think it's got a lot of stuff going on where it would keep a young boy interested or a young girl interested in this movie. I mean, it's a PG movie, so you're showing it to your tweens.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it would slow down for the Breathless Mahoney stuff, you know, just kind of like when she's trying to seduce him. I think they would just get bored. I don't think they, you know, maybe the older boys would be like, ooh, but I think they would just get bored.
And they're just liking the dresses.
They want the action. They want the fighting and all that stuff and the montages, and that would work.
And the monster people.
Yeah. Yeah, that would work too. So I was looking at the Blu-ray stuff. So you can actually get the DVD. The single Blu-ray is $10 on Amazon. But if you want the Blu-ray and digital copy, it's $111.
I don't need the digital copy that much.
Yeah. Well, give me a break. Give me a break. Anyways. So, you know, I do like the movie, but like if somebody came at me and was like, oh, this is, I'm like, okay, it's just, I think it's a movie where if you don't like it, it's just not your cup of tea kind of thing. So I can respect that.
Is this not your cup of tea?
No, it is. I'm saying like just some movies, like when we talk about Thief, which was 10 weeks ago. And I'm just saying that because it was what we just got released.
Right.
If somebody says to me, oh, I didn't like Thief, I'll be like, look, it's a good movie. You maybe you didn't. I would make that point.
Right.
It's a really good movie. And it's, you may be okay. I get it. You
objectively, you should notice that what's great about
this
it. Right.
movie. If someone says I didn't like Dick Tracy, I think more goes to the fact that you just didn't like its style, and I can't argue against that because it is very stylistic.
Right.
You know, like Sin City. Like someone doesn't like Sin City, I get why they wouldn't like it because it's just I don't like that. I don't like how fake it is or something like that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just that's more of a stylistic choice that they didn't relate to, and I can't argue that point with them because that okay, I get that. Right. But a movie like Thief or a movie like Godfather Part 1, like those are just classic films, and it's like those are really good movies. So I think that's what I'm trying to say. Belaboring that point, apologies.
So have you figured out if you like this movie?
No, I do. I said I like this movie. I'm just saying that I don't. It's not a movie that I'm not going to die on the mountain for if somebody's like, this movie sucks. I hate this. I hate that. And I'll be like, oh, I think that's all right. Oh, I want to see you later. Like that kind of thing.
Do you think you'd like it better, or do you think it would be more? Do you think people wouldn't have forgotten about it? I mean, even Al Pacino says it's forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Listen, now, if you want to come on this show here and talk about it, we're more than willing to have you.
Oh, yeah. He said, like, you know, it was one of his favorite roles. He had a blast doing it, but unfortunately, it just kind of faded away.
Yeah. No.
Do you think that it maybe would have more staying power if we got that 2 hour and 15-minute version? I mean, that's not a terribly long movie. I'm surprised that they really were like, you got to cut it.
Well, here's the thing also. So this movie, even though this movie's 30 years ago, you have Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, James Caan. You have all these movies. You have all these Dustin Hoffman, all these
big stars,
but they're older actors at the time. They were big in the 70s and 80s. And this movie pops up in 1990 and you have a whole new slate of new actors and new movies, because you talk about how Total Recall's out with Schwarzenegger, and Die Hard 2's out this week with
Bruce Willis, right?
The same month. Like you have all these, Eddie Murphy, another 40 Hours. I think you have a point where when this movie came out, there was a shift in kind of the popularity of the actors and actresses in terms of younger audience, you know, new actors, new people, Beatty, and they're kind of towards the tail end where they're transitioning to where they're no longer going to be leads. They're transitioning to more supporting actor roles. And I think maybe that probably affected its staying power. Like it did the money because it did the money from all the people that remember them from the 70s and 80s. And I'm not saying their careers ended after this. I'm just saying that there's a transition with, you know, how they're perceived in terms of what you see on screen. I think that has to do with its staying power. That's probably why it really just kind of got forgotten. So you got to figure out the 90s are just like when all these new, like True Lies I talked about with Schwarzenegger, you have The Matrix, you have Die Hard, you have all these new people that coming out. Like no one's going to remember Al Pacino and Warren Beatty in a 1990 movie in, 10, 15 years later. And it's not really going to be somebody people want to consume anymore.
So do you think Warren Beatty should have stopped casting every single one of his friends and tried to get at least one younger actor in there?
No, why should he care? He's doing a movie. It made its money. It was
right. It was a big hit.
It was a hit. It's just it wasn't a hit that has staying power because I hate to say this, but their stars were fading at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And just in terms of the long run, in terms of just their, like you can look back and when you watch it, you're like, wow, this movie's, it did a lot of business. Wow, why do people not talk about this anymore? And I think that has everything to do with kind of when it came out, who was in this movie, and the fact that people were already moving on to all this new stuff that was coming out.
Right.
And new actors and hot directors and all that stuff. And just, I think that kind of affected Dick Tracy's staying power moving forward. That's all.
I also noticed while we were doing this podcast and realizing that, there were no people of color in this movie.
Oh, obviously.
It's all a bunch of old white guys.
Warren Beatty's friends.
Yeah. So I think that maybe affected it too, because you have a whole audience that's not watching that don't care about the movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You probably, I don't need to see this. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of old. Yeah, no, I get that. No, that's extremely valid, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
Well, since this is the end of the season,
okay,
we usually like to let everyone know what we're up to outside of.
Ooh.
I can't even remember what I said we were doing. Do we do this in the first episode? No, we just do it every end of the season.
We usually do it at the end.
I have no idea what I said at the end of season 6. I don't know what I said I was doing. Yeah.
Well, I'll say what you're doing now.
So I know that I talked about that I have done a short film. That's actually finished. So that is finished and wrapped. And very soon we're going to hopefully we're going to submit it to some festivals, but it's a horror short. So I'm not really blanketing the festival circuit. And I quite honestly don't really put a lot of stock and weight into festivals in terms of them going anywhere. It's a nice networking thing and it's a nice thing to do. And it's obviously in the middle of a pandemic. It's a little bit easier to kind of get a virtual showing. So we'll see how we do. So I'm kind of earmarking horror movie festivals, but I'm not going to hear of anything about it until 2021. So at that point, so I'm submitting, probably do like a little virtual wrap party for cast and crew, kind of show it, talk about it. I'm sure it's at the time you've already listened to this episode. We've already done this. So, and then there's been talk about doing another. So we're kind of, circling some possible stories and whatnot. The name of the short film is No Parabo, which is it's a Japanese folklore, a yokai, as they say. And it's just it's a faceless woman. Oh, like no face, like the blank.
Ooh.
So, so it's like an 8-minute short. And then I'm writing. I've been writing. I went back to another script and just kind of like fleshing it out to be a feature. Obviously, I've been working on a couple short stories in the book. So, just kind of keeping busy. You know how it is, Butler. And, that's it. That's all I got.
Word.
What do you got?
I've got 2 other podcasts.
Oh, you're going to do the podcast thing?
Well, yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, fine. I also have yet another MCU podcast. So there's that.
Nice. That's a great plug.
I'm sorry.
I've got 2 other podcasts to do. I Crack One Open with Mike and Elise, a podcast I do with my fiance Elise, where we talk about brews, news, and pop culture reviews. Join us every Friday where we crack open a craft beer or other kind of boozy drink. We talk about the brewery it was made in, the history of the brew, what goes in it, and then our tasting notes. So if you're interested in how beer or cocktails are made, join us every Friday and you get a little bit of a history lesson as well as our tasting notes and our opinion on the thing. Sometimes we actually interview the brewers and owners of these different distilleries and breweries, so that's pretty cool. I've also got 2 Player Bros, a podcast with my buddy Dave, where we're 2 guys who play way too many video games. Join us every Thursday. We talk about the latest in PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, PC, VR news. We have it all. We play it all. Join us every other week for Post Game presented by 2 Player Bros, where we take a deep dive into a modern classic or new release and talk about our thoughts on gameplay and story. Both of those are available at ForgottenEntertainment.com or wherever you get your podcasts. I also do a bunch of audiobooks, so check those out. I've got Coffee at Midnight, Sour, Progressive Entrapment, The Final Girl, Vacation Planet, Switch, Art, Fraud, and Gangsters. They're all very different books. Some of them I do accents in. So check those out.
And I guess I'll do it a little bit better. I have another podcast, is yet another MCU podcast where we talk about Marvel movies with my buddy Pat Whalen. At this point, when you're listening to this, I will say that is a limited run. We are actually wrapping that up towards the first week of March. So we're only doing the Infinity Saga. And then maybe we'll pop on a little more after that. But yeah, so that's yet another MCU podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. I do not do narration. I do not do voiceover work, so you don't have to worry about finding me any work there. So join us next week as we start off season 8, where we're going to be covering the 1996 movie Beautiful Girls, starring Timothy Hutton. Who else is in this? Natalie Portman, Matt Dillon, Michael Rappaport, Mira Sorvino, Rosie O'Donnell. Wow, I can't remember all these people. Directed by Ted Demme. Mike has never seen this movie.
Nope.
As it is a mid-90s movie, I have definitely seen it. So, and I don't know when the last time I saw it. That might be a movie that I have not seen this century as well. But that's next week. Season 8 starts. Beautiful Girls. Until then, I am Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
This has been Forgotten Cinema.
You want to give me some Pacino for the end credits?
Everything he owns, I own.
It only works if we work together. If we stick. No, let him go. Let him go. Maybe he'll change his mind.
That's all I got.